Hello students, I am Dr. P.C. Cambodia, Associate Professor in the Department of English, BSR Government Arts College, Alwar, Rajasthan. This video is for the students of B.A. Part 2nd English Literature Paper 2nd. In this video, we discuss the novel Inside the Haveli written by Rama Mehta. In the very beginning of the novel, Inside the Haveli, we read about the description of Udaipur City. Udaipur City is situated on the undulates of geography, or the contours of the city are in form of ups and downs. The Lake Palace, City Palace, Pichola Lake, Fateh Sagar, and so many other lakes add to the beauty of Udaipur city. And there are the hills of Sachin-Garh Palace. This is a city that is famous for the tourists. The old city is walled, and there are 8 gates fitted to the old walled city. These gates are Brahma Paul, Suraj Paul, Hathi Paul, and so many others. Now the walls have started crumbling down, and there is yet another part of the city, that is the new city or the new developing areas of the city. The common road is there that links the old city and the new part of the city. In the old part of the city, the washermen, they come, they unload their donkeys, and they take out the dirty clothes, bed sheet, and they strike them hard against the slabs of Pichola Lake, and such scenes are quite common. Just outside the palace of the Maharanas, the elephants grunt, and those who are living in the huts quite away from the royal city, they hear the grunting of these elephants and feel overjoyed. They look at the lights of the city palace where the Maharanas used to live, and then we see that there are the ancient Havelis in Udaipur city. There are several, and these Havelis are in a form of networking. The networking is provided through the gullies. Small children, they run from one end of the street to the other end of the street, taking the essential news of birth of someone, or death of someone, or the marriage of someone, or any other message that is to be relayed from one Haveli to the other. Some of the streets of these Havelis that connect are wide enough, only allowing a cyclist to pedal. Then some of the streets are wide enough to allow a car to pass through if no other vehicle is coming from the other end. Whether the gully or the lane is wide or narrow, it has got the shops, and colorful ribbons made of satin are tied to the shops in order to attract the customers. Then there is a Haveli the Haveli is Jivan Nivas. In the very beginning, it is owned by Sangram Singh Ji. When the Haveli was constructed in its initial phase, there were some rooms and only one courtyard. As the time passed, then several parts of the rooms were also added, and then the number of the courtyards were also increased. If we look the outer shape of the Haveli, then we come to know that there is no definite shape of the Haveli. Somewhere it is bulging out and somewhere it is withdrawing within. If it is bulging out, then it is narrowing the street further, taking one corner out. But if we look at the inside part of the Haveli, then we come to know that there is a regular pattern. The rooms are there one after the other only for the gents to occupy. Then behind them, as we go inside the Haveli, then there are the rooms where the ladies live in. No gents member is allowed to enter into the compartments where ladies live. If it is essential for a gents to go over there, then his coming is proclaimed well in advance by giving a call that so and so is coming when a servant shouts. Then those gates of the old city were opened nowadays, but they were closed if the Mughal empires attacked the kingdom of Mewar. 25 years before the novel was written, that was the time of 1972, the lights of the royal palace, they were dimmed. The flag of Mewar estate came down and the flag of Indian federal government were hoisted, because now Mewar didn't remain a separate kingdom or empire. So Maharanas lost their kingdom and they also lost the right to distribute the pieces of land, and they also lost the power over their treasury. But that system of lordship has been shown in the novel to continue. Then we come to the second chapter of the novel inside the Haveli. We are introduced to two characters in the very beginning. Lakshmi is a maid servant and Gangaram is her husband. Lakshmi and Gangaram, they have a daughter born to them. The name of that daughter is Sita. The night when Sita takes a birth is full of thunder and storm. It was raining heavily at that time when Sita was born. Then her husband is outside the room. Then there is a midwife who helps the Lakshmi to deliver the baby. Gangaram waits outside. The cook of the Haveli, Khyali, is also there. They kept on waiting and they feel that the baby that has been born should be a girl, because no maid servant has come out of the room to give them the good news. And then the news of the birth of the baby comes and that disturbs her father Gangaram. He says that girls are extra duty and responsibility. But it should not have been the view of Gangaram. That view is also supported by Khyali. Gangaram smokes a bidi, and in fear he throws that bidi. And here I would like to tell you that one should not smoke, because smoking is injurious to health. Then they talk about the issues, and meanwhile there is a lady. The name of that lady is Parijiji. She is the head of the 15 servants, whether they are male or the female. She comes shouting, "Where are the servants?" And they disappear whenever there is a work in the Haveli. She is quite old. She is always on her toes, visiting every part of the Haveli, taking commands from the owner of the Haveli and discharging them all. If she is a lady who is old enough to do the work, then why can't the young maid servants of the Haveli work? Now I would like to tell you that Parijiji entered this Haveli when she was a little girl. Her father came to the Haveli and he offered this child as the maid servant, because he had no food in order to provide, to keep her soul and breath together, because that was the time period of famine in Rajasthan. 3 of his children had already died, and Parijiji was the favorite child, so he offered this child to the aristocratic family of the Haveli, and the aristocratic family of the Haveli accepted. Parijiji does not know when she got married and when she got widowed. And then we come to know that the maid servant Lakshmi, we find that was also brought in the same way. She was dark and black enough, and other maid servants used to make fun of her that her parents had given her to the aristocratic family of the Haveli, because her marriage would have cost much and her dowry would have cost much. This way the other maid servants used to tease this maid servant Lakshmi. Lakshmi was married to Gangaram, who was also a servant in the Haveli. Sangram Singh Ji's wife got this marriage arranged. This is a mismatched marriage, because Lakshmi is quite young and Gangaram is comparatively older in comparison to the age of Lakshmi. Lakshmi lives in servants' quarters, which are towards the end of the Haveli. Their roof is slightly lower, and her husband Gangaram lives at the farmhouse, which is quite far away. He brings the firewood from the farmhouse occasionally and stays with Lakshmi. Lakshmi makes a complaint that her husband is not a good and attractive looking person. He has his nose slightly bent and he is also ugly to look at, but it is Parijiji who consoles Lakshmi that she is married. But look at Parijiji himself, she is a widow, and now there are the relatives of Parijiji who come and who take away the necessary income of the Parijiji, and they also provide her essential care, but and she is not there to take care of her mother-in-law or father-in-law or relatives. So she tries to console Lakshmi, but Lakshmi is in the upset mood. In the very beginning of this novel, we come to know that there are two plots. One plot is at the servant level and one plot is at the master's level. As we see one daughter born to the Lakshmi and Gangaram, her name is Sita. In the same way, the other girl is also born. She is born to Geeta and to Ajay Singh. This way, two parallel plots are developing. In one plot, a lady doctor comes and she passes on instruction to the royal family that this is to be done, that is not to be done, and the maid servants keep on listening to all those instructions. And on the other hand, when the other baby is born at the servant quarters, then only midwife takes the care and no instructions are passed. Then the maid servants, they say that these doctors create a fuss and extra care is taken only in case of the rich and the high persons or aristocratic persons. But what about the life of the poor? The life of the poor is also valuable. It is also to be taken into consideration. This way, two types of remarks are passed and two types of plots are developing from the very beginning, and we shall be taking the next chapters subsequently as we advance further in the novel inside the Haveli.